Cranberries are grown in Massachusetts, New Jersey, Wisconsin, Washington, and provinces of Canada. But this is the story of the cranberries of Oregon. Due to the topography of Bandon, cranberry farms here are unique, small, family-owned farms. This is the cranberry, one of only 3 fruits native to North America. And this is not just any cranberry, it's the dark, red, plump cranberry of Oregon. What makes it different? Oregon. In addition to abundant rainfall, sandy soil, and fresh air, Oregon has a longer growing season than many other cranberry growing regions, who must harvest before the freeze. This makes Oregon's cranberries redder, plumper, and richer in nutrients. Native Americans knew the nutritious and medicinal values of cranberries and served them at the first Thanksgiving. Cranberries have been a part of Thanksgiving ever since. Most people know the cranberry outranks nearly every other fruit in healthy antioxidants. But what a lot of people don't know is cranberries don't grow in water. Actually, they grow on vines. And when Charles McFarlin brought cranberries to Oregon in 1885, they were being picked by hand. Hand picking was tedious, but since the cranberry has a 16-month growing cycle, pickers had to be careful not to damage the buds already forming what would become next year's crop. The fall harvest every year was widely anticipated. A picker could make 50 cents a box, earning extra money for the holidays. Over the years, different harvesting apparatus were invented. Hand scoops, long-handled scoops, different walk-behind picking machines made by Western, Darlington, and Furford. There was even the huge vacuum picker. But there was a secret hidden in plain view that would unlock a much more efficient way to harvest. The cranberry has 4 air pockets. This meant they could float, and that changed everything. If cranberries could float, that meant you could flood the bogs, beat the vines, and the cranberries would float to the surface. Thanks to water harvesting, what used to take hundreds of people now takes just a small crew. Oregon's cranberry farms are mostly family operations, passed down from generation to generation. And for that reason, the growers here are careful to protect the vines, the bees, and the environment. And by stair-stepping the bogs, water is conserved as it is passed from the highest bog to the next lower and the next lower bog during the harvest.
My name's Dave Hodder. I've been a cranberry farmer for about 18 years.
My name is Megan Hodder. I'm his daughter, and I've been helping him for those 18 years.
Well, we bought in '98. I came out of the timber industry. I was in the timber industry for 20 years and broke my right leg in a logging accident. And while I was looking for something else to do, I ran into the cranberry grower, and one thing led to another, and here we are. As far as a family life goes, I don't think you can beat it. When my kids had sports, I got to coach them, or if they had an event, I could always go to it. The harvest is kind of, I can kind of consider it the vacation. It's the fun part. You work all year to raise them, and then you get a harvest. The fields are built stair-stepped, so once one field's flooded, I use that same water through the whole process, and then at the end, it's dropped back into my ponds and back to the creek.
Well, we moved here and knew nothing about cranberries. And it was, I remember the first year of harvest kind of having the neighbors. It's a very community-driven career. And so we had the neighbors come over and they helped, and we kind of struggled through the first few years, and it's just kind of evolved from there, and now we only need 2 people to do it.
My name's Charles Allen Rudell. I've had primarily 2 careers in my life. One career officer in the United States Navy, one career farming. Both my grandparents passed away, whereas they passed along to their children the property and the 6 acres of cranberries. At this point, my parents, my mother and father, own part of the farm, the majority interest in the farm, and my sister and myself own minority interests in the farm. My sister and I and the parents decided we wanted to make it into a standalone farm that was not a hobby farm. At that point in time, we put capital into it. It expanded the farm, and now we have 54 acres of producing cranberries. My sister is a tremendous contributor to our cranberry farm. A truck driver, she can load fruit, and she is the supervisor for our loadout crew. My sister is very good with numbers, so she handles all of our books. Without my sister, it would be trouble.
My grandparents bought this farm, and then they sold it to my parents. And then my mom sold it to me and my wife.
Our farm is the oldest, like the same family has owned it, farm, Cranberry Farm in Oregon. We're proud of that his family has had that and run it and kept it going. That's what Dave's mom wanted.
So we have kind of a legacy of carrying on this tradition that she wanted it to pass down in the family. So it's a business, but it's also a family legacy too.
A century farm is when a family has had a farm and run it for 100 years straight. So in 2017, we will become the first cranberry farm in Oregon to become a century farm.
My name is Richard Clark. We've been growing cranberries for 20 years now.
In about 1990, Richard said to me, I need to do something different. We were working in the commercial interior design business. We took a client with us so that we could do farming during the good weather, and in the winter we did design work for them in their hotels in the South.
And we started with a piece of property that was just trees. We were really starting from scratch because we didn't know anything about cranberries ourselves.
Some days it was great, other days it was, oh my goodness, what have I done?
We had to get a permit from the state of Oregon, and that took 2 years to get a permit to even build the farm.
Many people here use an elevator to harvest, to lift their berries out of the field. We had to institute a farm smarter, not harder process for us because we were going to be getting older. And to move around an elevator was something we felt we weren't going to do. So Richard designed a fruit pump which sucks the berries out of the field and drops them into a truck. Cranberries have been abandoned for at least 100 years, and over the years, through research and experimentation, the cranberry industry has developed a tremendous amount of different types of products that can be used year-round and in many, many different settings and different types of food. The cranberry has come a long way from cranberries and cranberry sauce.
A cranberry bog is like a tree in that it keeps continuing to put out fruit year after year. You don't plow the ground up and put in new cranberries every year.
Our oldest bog at this point in time is approximately 23 years old. They'll live in perpetuity if you take care of them and be their custodian. They will be similar to a redwood tree. They would go 100 years easy.
You're putting life into them. I mean, you're giving them life in everything you do with them. When you fertilize them, when you water them, when you prune them, take care of them, harvest them, you're helping them along. They have a uniqueness about them. And we kind of, I think we look at them in a little bit of a special way. And it's funny, they actually seem to respond to it. I mean, the bogs that we care about the most, that we put the most life into, seem to give the most back. So everything we do, we try to treat them like we want them to continue for 100 years. And we're putting life into them and treating them as a life form and not just something we're going to cut down and harvest.
I love being on the farm, and me and my mom talk about walking the farm in the mornings when the sprinklers are running. There's nothing quite as peaceful, and God's creation is amazing, so that's a pretty cool thing to experience.
Yeah, if I couldn't raise cranberries, I don't think I could go back to Los Angeles or probably another city even. It's just such a different lifestyle.
I would never have a city job, ever. I'd never be able to live and work in a city.
You got to be outside. I usually we didn't bring them out this time, but we got a couple dogs that are usually out here with us. And they'd have loved to got a hold of your drone. I've always been self-employed. I've always kind of figured I'm unemployable. So I got to work for myself. It's just taking care of what we got, what God gave us to take care of.
The Cranberry Farmers of Oregon, since 1885, providing the world with their rich, red, healthy berries, known for their beneficial nutrients since the beginning of our country. The Cranberries of Oregon, from our families to yours.